is that in order to make this lot line adjustment. They're playing with in terms of severing. Some of
You
the
ready?
problem.
Okay. You good?
No.
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Planning and Zoning for April 2024. We do have an established quorum for the first item of business. Second item is approved meeting minutes from March 19th, 2024.
Mr. Vice Chair, I'd like to make a motion
Yes, ma'am.
to approve minutes of from P&Z meeting March 19th, 2024.
Second.
Meeting minutes passed for March 19th, 2024. Recognizing person is not on agenda. Seeing none, we will go to item 4, conflict interest ex parte contact declarations. Does any commissioner, employee, commissioner, or family member have any economic interest in the matter on the agenda?
Nope.
I do that as well. So, first item, item business, public hearing, action item preliminary plat for Axel subdivision. Applicant Sharon Hammond to request approve actual subdivision preliminary plat. The plat consists of 40 lots, including 29 single-family lot, 8 duplex lot, and 3 common lots. The development will provide 45 dwellings at a complete build-out. The site is east of Colonial Estates subdivision, and the east side of South 10th East Street, west of Highway 30.
All right, so as mentioned, we have a preliminary plat before us. The preliminary plat was part of a PUD that's now coming forward for Axtell subdivision. As mentioned, Axtell subdivision is proposed to consist of 40 lots, 29 single-family lots, 8 duplex lots, and 3 common lots, which will provide a total of 45 housing units at complete build-out. The approved planned unit development was approved for 42 lots. There were some adjustments made, so they've reduced the PUD, the platted lots down to 40, which does not constitute a departure from the concept development plan. So at that, I think you've read the staff reports. You see what's before you, and that's what we have to go on.
Any questions from the commissioners for bring the applicant up?
No.
If you can, please sign in and state your name for the record.
Sure. My name is Dan Sharp, Noesis Engineering. I'm representing the developer and the owner of the property. Thank you. Signed in.
Could you give us details of the project?
I can. So this subdivision is going on what's called Axtell Circle. It's been a private road identified on the county records for some time. It's a fairly small subdivision. It's going to have, like was mentioned, it's going to have the 42 lots on this one, right?
Originally, it was 42.
Originally, it was 42 lots. PUDs have been approved here. We're trying to stay within the city's records. We have a couple of late issues on this that we've tried to resolve before this meeting, but they're still coming through. So what we're looking for, we're going to disclose those at this time, so you can see what the issues we're dealing with because of some surveying issues in the county. And hopefully we go forward with the ability to either resolve these issues or with direction from the P&Z on how they want us to handle this. The existing legal description does not follow the plat because the street or the fence was originally conceived as the property line, which was understood by all the owners at that time. The survey does mention this in a side note, but it wasn't picked up on the plat. Talking with the surveyor to resolve the issues, the simplest resolution here is a lot line adjustment, and they're working through that process, but it's been fairly complex because two different properties were surveyed from two different directions, and there was an error on one of those directional surveys, which caused about a 10-foot overlap. There's enough property with the original property description to comply with our lot count that we have. What happens on the south side is that it essentially loses 10 feet of the subdivision along the lot count. So the plat you have is to the fence line, not to the actual legal description on the lot count. What that would change would be that the road coming out the south side towards Daniels Road would, instead of being a 30-foot wide 2-lane road, would be back to what the PUD identified as a 20-foot wide 1-lane exit road at that location. The other issues that we have are not really related here. They're just property ownership issues, is that there's some structures that are across the property line that will need to be moved or abandoned. And we are working with the neighbors, or the owner is working with the neighbors to get that to occur. So those are the three issues. The property owners on the south are the Vallards and the Ivy Romeros. And we have not contacted the Romeros yet to talk about this. We don't necessarily have to have the property on either place to make the subdivision work. We're just disclosing that that's the error. We do have an attorney with land development working with getting the property's descriptions correct for the city or the county records. The county's a little bit different than what the surveyor, the engineer, and the attorney have worked with. They have a little bit different system to make this go away. We would typically deal with what's called a quit claim deed, and then quit claim the deed there, and then according to the city, we'd have to annex that into the city to get that to be part of the property. The complexity of this is that as we've gone through this, the county's requirements is that they have required us to do a lot line adjustment, which is different. The lot line adjustment effectively puts that 10 feet on one property versus the other, so both properties are adjusted at the same time, which creates a little bit of an issue with the zoning and the annexation, excuse me. So we were kind of talking about it here in the beginning on how to deal with this particular issue. We can revert back and not have the 30-foot access road and deal with this in the future. That's not a problem, and just add it on as a future thing after we go through all the additions. We've already conceded to Mrs. Vallard on the south that we've given her a letter that makes a statement that we're not going to affect her fence or her vegetation, which is also in the PUD, so it's now in two places. But we have not contacted the Ivies. The subdivision has small lots that are intended to be for what's classified now as tiny home single-family developments. The owner of the subdivision wishes to make this a 55-plus community. He's done these before, and he thinks they're a great addition to your community, and I think that would be a good addition as well. So, do you have any questions for me?
Sure. Go ahead.
Thank you. So I just want to make sure that we have a record of the two issues. And one is apparently there's a structure crossing a property line.
That's correct.
And has that issue been resolved?
It is in the process of being resolved now.
Okay.
It's a property ownership issue, and so the offer has been to assist in the movement of the structure or to remove the structure.
Okay. And then
The other reason for the wanting the additional going to the fence, as that helps resolve some of those issues.
And then with the property line to the south, I just want to make it clear, or have you state clearly. So the survey description that I'm looking at on one page, and then the drawn plat,
Drawn plat, yep.
or the preliminary plat that you have submitted. This preliminary plat includes 10 or more feet,
To the fence line.
south of
Yes.
the surveyed line on your survey, J.J. Howard survey.
Correct.
And that includes 10 feet of property that you currently do not own.
Correct.
Does not own, okay. And
Apologies, we only disclosed, we only got this really disclosed, actually your staff found the issue, and we've been circling quickly to try and get it resolved quickly. So,
okay, well, I just want to make sure for the purposes of the P and Z Commission that they're aware, number one. And so, number two, the issue, and I don't want to make too big of a deal out of it, but the shed crossing the property line creates an ownership issue with the portion of the shed that's on your property.
Correct.
So that could require a quiet title action. If they're like, no, I'm not moving it, because they may have, I'm not gonna speak as their attorney, but they could have a claim, an adverse possession claim, maybe, I don't.
Yes, they also have setback issue requirements that the city has. Like they're in, that structure is in several violations. Hopefully, with the communication with my
Okay.
owner here, that those resolve,
Okay.
because there's the plan is to move that garage, and that clears up any problems the city would have with that, as well as what we have with it.
Okay. Okay, that was, and then, as we spoke earlier, before the meeting started, you're in discussions with the county as the proper way to sever ownership of that 10-foot sliver from the other owner to you, or to make the surveys match. I'm not clear what.
So the way the county has a checklist that we have to go through for what they call the lot line adjustment. And this is for what if you were to have a neighboring property and you buy property from another neighbor, most counties in Idaho deal with a quick claim action. This is not how Elmore County works. Elmore County works, in that case, both property descriptions are redrawn, resurveyed, and then both owners go and record that at the same time. So that's been the fly in the ointment. And so it creates, the problem I see with this is because, just like what you had talked about with the annexation, is just by, your annexation follows the original property description. So your annexation line would go 10 feet north of the property line. So that, regardless, the subdivision can go forward with the space we've got. The issue with the garage becomes a more critical issue than what we have now. Either way, I feel like the garage is an issue that we have to resolve, because if the garage is not moved, it's very close to, it's in the driveway of somebody else's driveway. It's very close to a road, and it doesn't meet the city standards for setbacks. We've heard a lot of reasons why the survey's kind of messed up here, but I don't think it really matters as much as just getting the lot lines cleared up as to where the property lines are.
So that's just for the benefit of the commission. That's the issue with that. Can you pull up the survey line on the Wickham roll there?
So you speaking of that, it was like a metal building that the red line directly goes through?
Yeah, if you look
Okay.
That's one, but
Yeah.
the clearest
right here on the actual,
part of the issue is this right here.
This guy right there.
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
Question.
right up there.
Oh, it's up?
You're gonna do it.
You already
just
see one
once.
condition.
Aha, thank you.
I think it's touchscreen.
See, I got it. Magic.
You are magic.
So this, just so you all know, this is what we're looking at. This, Can you maybe zoom a little in? Here's, the issue is the plat that you've got goes to here, or near here. This is where the tree line is, right? This is trees, or the trees down here further.
Trees are inside the fence. We
Yeah,
don't show,
there.
they don't depict the trees.
Okay, in any event, this is the city boundary now. Right here, this is the part that's annexed.
Oh,
And this is the part that's on their survey, but the plat goes to here. And so the legal issue that you have, that we have, that Brenda brought to me and Paul and I kicked around for a little while is this, that you can't approve a plat that's not in the city, which this part of it wouldn't be in the city. So what he needs to do, and which he's on track to do, I think, is to acquire this, and then we do an annexation ordinance to bring it in, then it matches the plat. Or shelve the plat that has this. It's totally up to you.
Well, or the other one is that we redraw the plat to not include that,
Yeah, that's what I mean. So
Yeah.
shelve the plat and put a new one that doesn't have.
which is just the south lot line adjustment, which we've looked at that. It won't really materially change the plat, just what it affects if you go to the next picture in this.
But I guess, then we gotta turn it again.
You have to hit that 3 times now. There. What it affects is,
I'm working on it, trying to get there.
I'm not magic anymore. What happened?
I'm going backwards. All right, there we go.
this street comes to here, and this is the 20-foot section here
Yeah.
that is in the PUD, and we have to shift this lot line up 5 feet. So that's the 2 changes that we have to do.
And I don't believe that shift, should you have to do that, reduces the lot size.
Doesn't reduce, it reduces the bottom lot size. We've
Right,
got a little
but you're
bit more
still
lot
with-
size than what the PUD
And then-
called for.
Right,
And then whatever cloud there is, so the other legal standard for a plat is you own the property. So he owns everything except this 10 feet, and then potentially the spot that the shed is scooched over on, right?
If it was to go the wrong way.
Yeah.
So the argument is that we own it, we've been paying taxes on it. The
Yeah.
courts would decide whether it's you've used the term,
Adverse possession.
adverse possession, meaning that they have taken adverse possession of the property.
I'm gonna have that for 20 years, correct?
I haven't dealt with one of those since law school, which was.
Sorry,
not
put you on
long
the
ago,
spot.
actually, so.
The adverse possession laws are somewhat conditional upon the court. So you have to prove that nobody has claimed that.
And if they didn't have permission, under color of law, there's, bringing back memories. Anyway.
There's several gates you've got to get through, so that, but there is that issue. Like I said, the owner's made overtures to move that garage and move it more in compliance with the city's plans.
You have any questions before I open up for public comment?
I just have to, well, question / comment. The agenda does say 45 lots,
45 units,
45 units.
yeah.
Does it say,
45 dwelling units.
okay, so is that how many we're planning on putting in there?
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, there's a typo. Okay, so 45 dwelling units. Okay. So it's not 45 lots. That's the 40 lots. Okay,
And when you add the single family to the duplex lots, you'll come up with 45
with
dwelling
45.
units.
Okay. Okay. And so to get really clear, you guys don't own the property directly south of you?
Correct.
Okay. You don't own the property that's in the middle either?
We don't own this property right here.
Right. Okay. Okay.
But they do own the 20-foot strip coming between the southern property and that block. So they do own a 20-foot driveway here.
Okay.
Also, to be clear, that's impacted by a garage.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, I see that on the, okay. That was it, I just wanted to clarify.
You said that the road that's to the south there, if you don't get the property, right?
Mhm.
That's gonna be a 20-foot road at that
Yeah.
point?
So right now it's planned, what we have depicted here is a 2-lane street coming in and out.
Right.
We dropped that to a 1-lane street, an out 1-lane street, and so there'd be turnaround right here for the lane to turn around. This would be an out, and then this is still the same for the most
Two-way.
part. This lot line would shift up 5 feet.
Mm-hmm. And the setbacks for the houses and everything like that would remain
Still remain the same.
as the plat is right now.
Yeah, except for
So you would just
basically that whole bottom side would just shift up.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
Mr. Curtis, how would that affect fire protection, reducing it, being a one-way?
Negatively impact fire protection.
So no, nothing from your side?
It's still an access.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Okay, have you have a seat. I'm gonna open it up for public comment, public hearing. At this time, would anyone like to come up and,
I would.
yes, ma'am. If you can, state your name and sign in for the record, please.
Sorry, just writing notes.
Pen don't write very good.
Yeah.
True story.
Sorry. I don't do shorthand.
Okay. I'm Louise Ballard. I own that property to the south. My main problem was with the property lines. I knew the surveys were all messed up out there. And I had been told before this ever happened, long before it happened, that my property was the only legally surveyed one on the place. Now they're saying my property line ain't there. But I have a letter from them stating they will not come in over my fence or take my shrubs out there. So I'm not concerned about that. The only other concern I have is they say they're going to landscape in front of the thing, but the paper that sent out said Daniels Road was to be moved back in 6 feet, which would make it 35 feet from the center. When we bought that place, the center of the road was 25 feet from my line, and now it's 29 feet from my line. So when they put the other subdivision in and widened the road, somehow or other they said it changed the center of the line. So if they set it back, it would put it to within about 15 feet of my house, and I do not want that done. And I also want a written notarized thing that they will put a security fence between me and them, because I have an acre of land. On that land is a roller that belongs to my dead son. There is 2 trucks that my other son is trying to get rid of. I know how neighbors are. They would start complaining about my weeds back there and this and that and whatnot. And I'm 95 years old, almost 96. I cannot get out and keep all the woods and stuff out all the time. So I don't want people complaining about what's in my place, because I'm trying to get it all cleaned out. And that was my main concerns. So.
Thank you.
But I am curious about how, when we bought that place in 1968, The center of the road was 25 feet from my boundary line. It's now 29 feet from my boundary line. And I thought it looked like the Raft River had moved the survey stakes. Everybody told me I was wrong. But somewhere or another 4 feet showed up between the center of the road and my place. And I wonder about that. And that
Are
is-
you aware of the documents he was speaking of?
With regards to the center line,
Yeah.
I do not, I'm not familiar with that. I believe we might be able to look at the Colonial States plat and see where that center line is, but I didn't.
And I did go out and measure. It is now 29 feet. And we measured when we bought it, and it was 25 feet from the, and our fence has not moved.
And Ms. Ballard, are you referring to the pin in the roadway?
Yeah.
Is that where you're?
Yeah, I thought they looked different, but they told me, oh, no, they weren't. But there is a 4-foot difference now from when we bought it and what's there now. So I think that might do a lot with the property lines. And that is my main problems. I'm not against the subdivision. I'm not trying to stop it. I just don't want my land bothered.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else would like to want to make a comment? Seeing none, we'll close public hearing.
Because people
This time, come on up. And I'll open up for the commission for questions.
Anything?
So, Mr. Schroeder, how did this, with all the, I don't say mess, that's maybe not the right word to say that, but with the property boundaries, how would we approve that? Would it bother, we just condition it?
No, you can't
That's what-
approve it.
Okay, that's what I
You
was.
can't approve it. You can, I guess, table it to see if, give the applicant time. You can't, because right now,
It's not in
the
it.
plat contains property that's not in the city limits and contains one piece of property that may not be fully owned. So you could, I would suggest
Table it.
maybe get an idea from the applicant of how long this might take. I might be able to help in discussing with the county if there's a way to facilitate or see if there's a different process for something that seems fairly simple at the south boundary line. I don't know about the shed deal. And then the last part of, or go ahead.
I was just gonna ask applicant, what time frame are you?
The south
the-
boundary lines will probably be cleared up within, at least the annexation is the bigger issue.
Right.
So working with your attorney, that would be and the county, it seems very simple, but the annexation creates a little bit of a problem there. We can do a couple things. We can be back to you very quickly. We can redraw the subdivision without that extra 10 feet and resolve that in the future, where it could be added in and make a boundary modification sometime in the future after we've done an annexation, if that's necessary. The owner is in conversations with the garage people, so I don't know how long that will take to resolve. I think he was close, but I've not been part of those communications, so I don't know exactly. We've just been scrambling this week to try and get
Right.
these issues taken care of.
So that I want to put you on the 16th, which is our next scheduled meeting, correct? If that's not enough sufficient time for you to clear up that'd be 2 weeks from today.
Mr. Vice Chair, if I could ask counsel, legal counsel. So if he can clear up the boundary line issues, he would still have to come forward with and annex that portion before we could approve the preliminary plat as drawn.
Yes.
So we would have to redraw the preliminary plat correctly. Would that require a new hearing or just a boundary adjustment on that side?
So, I guess we had a public hearing for this plat right now, and we had a public hearing for a plat that we can't approve, but it is larger. You would maybe bring an amended plat to be heard that shaves off that
Yes.
10 or 13 feet. because I'm trying to figure out who actually, another way to scoot this ahead is who is the current owner
Hammond?
of the 10-foot strip that's
That's the, the current owner right now
Miss Ballard?
is Miss Ballard. You have the same issue with who owns the property based on,
Right.
same as the garage on that one, because that fence has been
So
there for.
she's disavowing owner, or the surveys are disputing it, but she's not asserting, we don't have to put her on the
Right.
spot, but your understanding is she's not asserting ownership of anything north of the shrubs.
Correct.
Okay. So, given that she appears to be the rightful owner of that, she could do a request to annex. I mean, I don't know if she wants to, or someone on her behalf. And that might scoot this ahead a little bit to get the annexation piece going before you settle up acquiring the property.
Could I make a proposition on your tabling? Can you table this till the 16th, and we can get this timeline and let you know what we need from that point?
Yep.
If you could table it to the 16th, like, I'm just running into a lot of different pathways that I've got to deal with. I don't have a good, clear path forward. And I don't know, this issue with the county seems very simple, but it's not clear cut. It's not what we normally like to see. So we're not, obviously nobody's trying to be a bad neighbor here. We're just trying to get this to the best situation. The city's been great to work with. We're sorry that this has come up. I think it's going to come up more often in your city, based on what we've seen.
And Mr.
But-
Chair, if I can ask the applicant one more thing. So when we table you to the 16th, will you also have had contact with the Romeros?
Yeah, we're working that direction. We just haven't. We
Because-
called a couple times and just haven't had to get it.
Because that is part of the legal description, matches the preliminary plat.
Yeah.
I imagine what we'll probably do is do an amended plat
Yep.
right now, and we'll deal with the annexation if needed later on. So we can make a plat work with an amended plat this way. The flip side of that is the garage issue we're trying to get resolved. So if we can get that resolved, we'll amend the plat. I think we can be before you at the 16th without any problem. I can have the plat back in a couple of days.
Okay.
It's more the garage issue that we're trying to resolve. And then we can go from there.
Make a motion to table PZ 24-7, Axtell subdivision preliminary plat to the 16th meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you.
You guys have been great to work with. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Sorry.
Thank you, guys.
16th.
I do that right.
Yes. Great job.
So, Ms. Brenda, on the next item, we're not since it's got the footnote.
I'm sorry, what?
On the next item, it says notification was not met.
That's correct. The item is pulled from the agenda.
Just want to double check.
Yeah, the notification requirements were not met, so they won't be heard tonight.
Okay, the next item on business is the action item preliminary plat, extension request for Fall Creek, April, well, say this correct, Pierce, is requesting approval for extension of Fall Creek subdivision preliminary plat, PZ 24-13.
Okay, on this request, I'm sure you read through the document. You can see that the application has expired. And with a preliminary plat, generally, you have to request the extension to Planning and Zoning Commission at least 30 days prior to expiration. However, they are requesting an extension of this particular preliminary plat, as there were some some circumstances regarding this application. Since the application was initiated, the property was sold there's a new owner, but also in September of 2023, they submitted their development plans. At that time, staff should have noted that that was coming up on a year, and would need to be extended, or the request made. Somebody from our office should have caught that and made mention of that. But again, there was a circumstance regarding the new ownership, staff missing that, and there were conversations in between that time between staff regarding the development plans, and there was never any mention of the expiration or coming up upon that expiration. At the time, up until now, we have not had a plan in place to notify applicants at least 60 days prior, so that they are aware that the things are coming up upon expiration. So with that series of events here, they are requesting to have the approval of the extension at this time, even though the plat has technically expired.
Mr. Schroeder, are there any issues on your behalf?
City Code 91610J in your packet on page 5 on the decision of City Council approval says failure to file and obtain considers the plat null and void. Let me see if I can. Injection plat. Oh. Waiver of any of the requirements of this chapter may be granted by the council on a case-by-case basis upon the recommendation of the commission. So, there you have it. Application for such waivers must be in writing and must show that there are special physical characteristics or conditions affecting the property in question where literal enforcement of this chapter would result in undue hardship, not the result of actions by the subdivider, and that the waiver would not be detrimental to the public welfare. So this waiver is kind of like on, parking requirements or things like that. But waiver of any of the requirements of this chapter may be granted by the council on a case-by-case basis upon recommendation. So you could just sever that part of the paragraph that doesn't apply to other conditions and decide whether in the request in writing, where is that?
That would be our application.
Okay. Does it contain the extenuating circumstances?
Unfortunately, I didn't put, he did provide a narrative with regards to that.
So there's something about a trunk line that went on for 5 months.
Right.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That was during the development phase
So
discussions.
this is from you. Anyway, so I guess you can take the staff's interpretation of their rendition of what the hardship was and make your decision about whether you think it warrants approval. Your recommendation to the city council to approve the extension.
You don't have to approve any changes to the plat. The plat is still pretty much what it was, right?
Correct, they're just requesting an extension, predated back to October,
Okay.
so they could move forward.
Yeah.
Bring the applicant up if you want to make any comments.
Yep.
State your name and sign in, please.
Michael Freer, I'm the applicant. Give you my address stated or just no?
Just right.
Yeah. Okay. So pretty much what Brenda said. There was, just some, I took over, I didn't realize, I haven't done a subdivision start to finish in the city. I missed it. And then we were also with the trunk line that was discussed briefly. It was a sewer line that we were ready to pretty much have a permit issued, but the city's engineer wanted a sewer or discussion about this sewer trunk line to go through the property, even though it wasn't going to service the property. So that went on for several months, kind of held up us starting the project.
No, I mean, if there's no changes made, I don't think I have any questions.
If you don't mind, can I have you sit back, and I'm gonna open up for
Yeah.
public hearing?
This is not a public hearing item.
Oh,
It's not a public
sorry.
hearing. No, it's on
Yeah.
us,
Sorry,
All us.
All you.
all us.
I'm just in my routine of doing a public hearing, so, sorry.
Why is the vice chair?
Yes, it is, I'm still training. Thank you for that. Speaking of, you have any questions, Rob?
I don't have any questions.
Seems
No.
pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Pretty
it's
straightforward, yeah.
Misunderstanding and trying to do a trunk line. So
Do you hear a motion?
Mr. Vice Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the extension to the Fall Creek subdivision preliminary plat.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, sir. So the old business on the next item, I suggest that we table that since we're missing two members.
We'll eventually get to it, I guess.
Yeah, eventually.
You have any problems with that, Ms. Brenda?
Negatory.
Department head items, do you have anything for us?
Sir.
Been cool and exciting.
Great.
Nothing cool or exciting.
Anything requested by the commission?
Not at all.
Nope. We have any findings? We don't have any findings of facts or anything like that to approve either. Okay. All you, Mr. Vice Chair.
At 6:12, the meeting is adjourned.
Oh, hang on.
Oh,
We have department heads,
Oh.
maybe.
You did send me a request for.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know if you got that.
Well,
Yeah.
Of course I do. So, I received an email earlier today from the vice chair asking for a quick EDU update. So I will give you just some quick numbers. Currently, the city produces 11,640 EDUs. Of those, 7,900 are in use. That's between single-family, multifamily, churches, commercial, all different uses in the city. Leaves us 3,690 available. We do have approximately 2,500 EDUs that are committed, and when I say committed, when we have a new subdivision approved, for example, Axtell subdivision, when they receive their approvals, we put an asterisk for the number of EDUs that they would potentially use. Of that 2,500, I will tell you that over half of those EDUs are for developments that we have not seen come forward at all. In fact, a lot of the plats have expired, that kind of thing. So currently, we're sitting at a place where we have 3,600 available. When we bring well 17 online, that's going to give us another 1,100 EDUs. Currently, there's no in-writing plan for well 18, but we are working water rights, and we do have water rights for 1,500 additional EDUs on a well 18 when the city gets to a point where we need that. So
Would that
as
come
far
from
as-
that? Would that come from the trailer court? I know there's some water rights coming from that.
No, they're water rights we currently own.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have 1,500 available water rights that we currently own. And anytime there's an annexation, part of the annexation agreement is, I'm sure you're aware, we take the water rights from those, or they buy them. So I guess where I'm going with that right now is all the developments that are approved, we have water rights available for.
So, and and the reason for the email, just, I know that's always the issue.
It is, it's always a question.
And,
And it's why when we do all of our agreements, and I'll read it to you from, so when we do our applications and when we condition approvals, in our approvals, we typically put in, per city council's request, a statement in there that says, development regarding applications will be subject to the city of Mountain Home's availability to provide municipal water. So that is the catchphrase. So it's basically a first come, first served statement.
Now, would there ever be a point that, that we would stop development till we build them back up?
This body would not, that would fall on council.
Council, okay.
Yeah, that would be at the discretion of the council.
Based on the recommendations from your department?
Yeah, and it would be based on recommendations from us, yeah, but right now, I don't foresee that happening at this point.
And just for clarification, there's a lot of developments. I think there was one, the old movie theater, that probably
That's
that
an expired.
expired, so they,
It was expired.
yeah.
But we still have an annotation for those in our records in case they do
Do you ever
decide
come
to
back?
re-engage. So anything that's ever been submitted, I have a record of.
Nope, I was asked to ask that question.
Hopefully that answers the question.
Nope, no, perfectly. Thank you. I didn't mean to skip over you.
Nope, you're good. I just want to make sure we get it all out there.
Any other questions?
No question.
Good. Adjourn at 6:15.